Thank you.
While his legal troubles play out, Donald Trump is returning to the campaign trail today, and so is Vice President Harris. She's headed to Ripon, Wisconsin later, the home of a schoolhouse known as the birthplace of the Republican Party. And former Republican Congresswoman and January 6th committee member Liz Cheney will appear with her. Donald Trump will speak this afternoon in Saginaw, Michigan. It's his 12th visit to the state during this campaign and his first public appearance since the special counsel's brief was unsealed. And fresh off their CBS News debate performances, Governor Tim Walz and Senator JD Vance hit the road yesterday to make the case for their running mates.
Character matters. And Kamala Harris has it. Her vision is about bringing us together and being a president for all Americans.
I mean this in good faith, Kamala. If you'd like to bring peace and stability back to the world, I recommend you vote for Donald J. Trump for president because he's already done it and he's going to do it again.
CBS News campaign reporter Taurean Small is in our Washington bureau following the candidates' movements for us. All right, Taurean, let's start with the Harris campaign. Tell us about the significance of the event's location and also the appearance of Cheney.
Yeah, Marie, like you said, this is Ripon, Wisconsin, home to the Little White Schoolhouse. This is the home of a meeting place in the 1800s that led to the formation of the GOP party. The reason why we're seeing the vice president there today is to really illustrate how wide of a tent that the Democratic Party is casting. Dick Cheney's daughter and Dick Cheney, the former vice president, Liz Cheney, is one of a slew of Republicans who announced, in her case just last month, that they will be backing the vice president instead of the former president, in part because of the message that the former president is a threat to democracy. So Vice President Harris is looking to, again, show that Republicans have a place inside the Democratic Party, at least as part of her campaign.
So Donald Trump has been in Michigan a lot. JD Vance was there just yesterday. Clearly, this battleground state is very important to actually both campaigns, because a win in Michigan, you could be breathing a little easier on election night if they can snag those electorates. But what can we expect to see from the president as he heads to Michigan?
Yeah, certainly
Former
a must-win. Yeah, certainly a must-win state for the campaign. I've been traveling with JD Vance, as you know, for quite a bit, some time, and this is one of the states that he's most attended, in part because he is known as this Rust Belt representative, this senator from Middle America, from Ohio, and this, long storied rivalry from Ohio's college football and Michigan comes up a lot. He often invokes it as an appeal to Midwest voters out there. The reason why we're seeing Trump and Vance there so often is because, again, this is a must-win state, but also one that flipped for Trump in 2016. There's a strong chance the Biden or the Trump-Vance campaign believes they have to see a victory for him again in 2020 or 2024, rather.
And so let's pick back up with the special counsel's filing that was released yesterday on Donald Trump. Shortly after the court papers were unsealed, Governor Walz held a campaign event in another must-win state, Pennsylvania, where he made a comment about former President Mike Pence and January 6th, which came up in the paperwork a lot. I want to play some of that sound.
I served with Mike Pence in Congress. We disagreed on most issues, but in Congress and as a vice president, I never criticized Mike Pence's ethics and commitment to this country, and he made the decision for the Constitution. Mike Pence did his duty. He honored his oath, and he chose the Constitution over Donald Trump.
So this is something that, the campaign hasn't really spoken about a lot. They've focused in on the issues that voters say that they're interested in, and I don't think they've sort of expressed an interest in how Mike Pence is doing. That being said, what are you hearing from the campaign on this?
Well, we're hearing that that's just not really an issue worth talking about. Former Vice President Mike Pence, of course, has announced that he would not be endorsing Donald Trump in this election. He also said he won't be endorsing Kamala Harris. But we know that the Vance campaign is looking to move beyond Mike Pence's January 6 talking points. As he stated in the debates, the CBS News debates this week, he's looking forward. The bigger issue is not democracy or the state of democracy if Donald Trump is reelected. In his mind, it's about censorship from Democrats, Anne-Marie.
Taurean, thank you.